Creating an atmosphere of lifetime learning in the classroom starts early in the student's career when they begin their journey in preschool or kindergarten, and it continues all throughout their life in every class they either are required to take or they elect to take.
Kindergartners, smiling and waving. Let's make sure we get everybody. Smile and wave. It actually hurts a little.
All learners, no matter what age, need to believe they can learn.
When I think about classroom climate, I think back to when I was teaching in the classroom, and what comes to mind is community. Actually, developing trust in a relationship with your students where they have a nice bond with you, and with that bond, the climate in your room feels much safer. And for me, that's what it all comes down to, is making sure that the students feel safe in your room. So then whatever issues, whatever that you might have to address from recess to lunchroom in your classroom, your classroom and you as a teacher can address that as together, and so they feel safe to do that.
Classroom climate to me is that environment that exists in a teacher's classroom. It's kind of a totality of many things, attitudes, the belief system the teacher brings in. Sometimes it's rules and expectations, but it's a little bit nebulous because climate's going to be different in a lot of places. But to me, is there a good environment for learning and sharing and having open discourse?
Classroom climate could actually mean a few things, as simplistic as what's the temperature of the room, is the room comfortable for people. It can also refer to the classroom environment, which is more encompassing than just simply the temperature of the room, but how does the instructor manage the room. I'm sure we've all been in classes where the instructors are, I don't know if loose is the correct term, but they have a much more conversational nature. The students are much more open and willing to participate in discussion. Then you have some other classrooms where the instructor runs a class much more formal. Even adult students are expected to raise their hands. So classroom environment can mean a lot of different things, and personally I think it's a culmination of all those different things.
The physical environment should be clean, orderly, and efficiently designed to encourage and stimulate efficient and effective student learning. WCT's interior and exterior facilities are well maintained, as well as the Pewaukee Police and Fire Department provide protective and emergency services. My role is to monitor and make sure that there are policies and procedures that are clear and enforced to make us all focused on learning.
Learning should be meaningful to the student,
Be relevant to the student.
Be useful to the student. Learning should help create responsibility for behavior.
Create belongingness.
Help create a self-directed learner.
And make the student feel included.
My name is Amanda Kendall, and I'm a K-5 teacher, along with Michelle Pemberton. I think classroom climate is the feeling that you get when you go into a classroom. It's not so much the physical environment, but I think just the feeling that you have. It's the way that the teacher interacts with the students, the level of respect that you can see with the words that the teachers and the students use with each other, and how nurturing it is as well. I think that can be part of what the climate is.
Okay. Classroom climate to me means the environment in which the teacher and students learn in.
And I think classroom climate, a positive classroom climate will create an environment where kids feel safe, and probably learning is maximized.
Yeah. When I see classroom climate, I guess one of the first things that pops into my head is just your overall atmosphere and attitude and approach that you create and develop within.
That or maybe low blood sugar. What did you say? Or low blood sugar.
And it is, I think, goes to the relationship between you and the student. I think it goes to the relationship between students and students. I think it is comes first from person to person. It's the human element of what goes on in that classroom, and I think that first and foremost. I think you can have, like I said, the traditional desks all lined up in a row and nothing on the walls, but still have a good classroom climate based on how you interact with your students and the expectations that you set and the relationships that you develop. And I think that can be as much the key to what I think a classroom climate is. Sometimes a lot more even than the content of what is necessarily is being taught. I think to a lot of degrees, not always the what, but the how. Mm-hmm. And I think that can breed a real positive classroom climate, learning environment, as I would like to say. I think the things that you see around you, your tables, your desks, what you have on the walls, I think they can help build it. Mm-hmm. I think they can support it. But I just, it's got to be the human quality more than anything else.
What does classroom climate mean to me? It's kind of like when I worked in corporate America and you had your corporate climate. To me, like classroom climate is the same thing. So it's like different environment, different moods of the people. How do I explain it? It might change. So it's kind of like the climate outside. Sometimes it's cold, sometimes it's hot. So when you get in a classroom, it's kind of the same thing. You're gonna have different moods depending on the dynamic of the class, the dynamic of the students, how the teachers teach, and if people had a good day or a bad day, stuff like that.
Classroom climate is providing an environment for the students to learn, to try and get them comfortable, to get the material across to them, and try to get them to retain it so they're able to use it both in the classroom and then later on in the field.
When I hear the word or the term classroom climate, I kind of think of the chemistry in a classroom, both the chemistry among students and the chemistry that the instructor has with the students. Sometimes it's a good chemistry, other times it's just a mix of personalities that kind of make it a challenging or a difficult climate, if you will.
You have just heard what some school administrators and teachers from elementary through technical college have to say about what classroom climate means to them. Take the next 5 minutes to reflect on what classroom climate means to you. If you're watching this in a group, take the time to